The rain came down in sheets, drowning the narrow dirt road as Rango trudged through the knee-deep mud. The village of Tumbbad lay in ruin before him, its clay houses slumping under the weight of years and water. The air smelled of wet earth, and something older, something foul. Lightning ripped across the sky, revealing the silhouette of a mansion at the forest's edge. Its crooked frame leaned against the howling wind as if it had stood for centuries, too stubborn to fall. Vines clung to its rotting walls like veins on a corpse. Every step Rango took sank deeper into the mud, pulling at his boots as if the earth itself wanted him to stay away. Yet his eyes never left the mansion. There was something inside calling him, something that felt older than the storm. The tea shop was dim, lit only by the glow of an oil lamp. Rain pounded against the wooden shutters as shadows swayed on the cracked walls. Rango sat in silence, sipping the bitter brew when an old man appeared from the corner. His eyes were clouded with age, his voice raw from years of speaking in whispers. He leaned close, gripping Rango's arm with a bony hand. He spoke of a curse that had swallowed this land whole, of a god once worshipped but never forgiven. They called him the Starved One, a creature bound beneath the mansion, hungering not for food but for greed itself. The old man's words trembled in the air like the smoke rising from his cup. He told Rango to leave before the night's heartbeats ran out, but outside, the storm made sure there was nowhere to go. The wooden doors groaned as Rango pushed them open. The air inside was colder than the storm outside, heavy with the scent of dust and decay. Massive tapestries lined the walls, their woven threads depicting a dark figure with molten gold veins running through its skin. Each pair of painted eyes seemed to follow Rango's every move. His boots clicked on the stone floor, the sound swallowed quickly by the silence. In the cracks between the stones, faint glimmers of gold pulsed like embers. Somewhere deeper in the mansion, water, or what he hoped was water, dripped steadily. The hall seemed to stretch longer, the further he walked, as though the house itself was deciding how far to let him go. Rango knelt by the scattered coins, their surface dull yet strangely warm. The moment his fingertips brushed the metal, it began to liquefy, sliding between his fingers like thick black oil. His breath caught in his throat as the substance slithered away, moving on its own across the cold floor. A shadow shifted on the wall beside him, but when he turned, there was nothing human in its shape. Too many limbs, too long a torso, a head that seemed to bend at the wrong angles. It was gone in the blink of an eye, but the air it left behind was colder than stone. The staircase spiraled downward into the earth, the lantern in Rango's hand casting small islands of light in the surrounding black. The stone walls were carved with scenes of sacrifice, men kneeling before a towering god, their chests torn open, rivers of gold spilling from their wounds. The air grew heavier with each step, clinging to his skin like a second layer. Somewhere below, a slow, ragged breathing echoed up the tunnel, each inhale sounding like rocks grinding together. The lantern flame trembled as if it wanted to go out, and for the first time, Rango wondered if the old man had been right. The chamber was vast, its walls lost in shadow. Gold lay in heaps across the floor, coins, goblets, chains, and crowns piled like offerings. At the center of it all was the starved god. His body was little more than a skeleton wrapped in paper thin skin, veins of molten gold glowing beneath. Heavy chains anchored him to the stone, though they quivered as if straining against his hunger. His eyes burned with an unnatural light, and his jaw stretched impossibly wide as he inhaled the scent of fresh air and something living. The gold around him pulsed, alive and aware, as if waiting for his command. The starved god spoke, his voice deep and ancient, like mountains breaking apart. He offered Rango wealth beyond imagining, a river of gold for the smallest gift, in return a single drop of blood. The shadows in the vault seemed to shift with his words, revealing the outlines of long-dead treasure seekers frozen in the walls, their bodies twisted in agony. Rango felt the weight of 1,000 eyes watching him. At his feet, a gold coin began to beat like a heart, and the ground itself seemed to lean toward the god's chained body. Rango stepped back, refusing the bargain, and the chamber erupted. The chains that held the starved god shattered like brittle bone, snapping in bursts of sparks. The creature lunged forward, his clawed hands tearing furrows into the stone as molten gold poured from his mouth. The piles of treasure collapsed, coins raining down like a metallic storm. The vault shook violently, dust and fragments of ceiling crashing to the ground. As the god's scream filled every corner of the earth, Rango ran, his footsteps swallowed by the roar behind him. Rango burst through the mansion's doors into the pale light of dawn. Behind him, the starved god's howl rose into the sky as the ground quaked. The mansion groaned like a dying beast, its walls folding inward before sinking into the mud. A final burst of gold dust erupted into the air, shimmering in the new sun before fading into nothing. Rango stood alone, drenched and trembling. In his palm lay a single coin still warm, still beating like a heart, its rhythm steady, as if it were waiting for something.